Let's actually see. All right, it's 1:51, Thursday, July 31st, and we're gonna hit the road. We have 16 hours. I'm hoping to make it all in one shot from Nashville to Denver. Gonna load up the bikes, gonna load up the pup, and we're gonna head west. A new journey, a new chapter. It starts today. So the idea was simple, right? Move back to Colorado, find that feeling of freedom again, and live the life that I had been missing so much, but not so fast. My entire life was being held hostage in the back of a truck by a scamming moving company. They were demanding thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. It kind of felt like one of those really bad jokes, or one of those stories that you tell years later. You know, maybe they're funny then, but I was living in the punchline. So this week's video isn't really about training. It's about getting back on the horse. It's about getting back after and back to the things that I love in the place that I love. Let's get after it. The last week in Nashville was kind of this beautiful, weird, chaotic blur, right? It was kind of the chaos that felt like, I guess, life itself. The air was thick with that late summer Tennessee humidity and heat. And the last few nights were just full of fun and laughter and seeing all of my favorite people. And I was celebrating my birthday, so it was really nice. It felt like this perfect kind of final chord in Nashville. But underneath it all, there was a hum of doubt, kind of that internal monologue that wouldn't go away. It wouldn't rest, you know, especially in the quiet moments after all the goodbyes, after all the see you laters. Am I making the right decision? Is this growth, or am I just running? And will I even love Colorado the way that I used to, and the way that I remember it? Or is it just a ghost that I'm chasing, I guess? But what if the man that left isn't the same one that's coming back? And that's kind of the thing about big decisions or big moves. The fear it's real. The pull to say where it's safe and it's known is, of course, strong, but in true Jason fashion, I had to take the chance. I never wanted to be the guy that's haunted by the words, what if? I'd rather live with a wrong decision than a life full of wondering, willing to make a decision based on my own ideas or my own soul. I love the times, I love the people in Nashville, but I knew pretty quickly that the South was just not for me. So after a few years there, a lot of internal battles and learning a lot about life and myself, it was time. It was time to trade the familiar for the true. The drive itself was kind of this bit of meditation. It was almost 1,200 miles of just open road to think and to just dream about the first morning ride, the first moments of life in crisp mountain air, the mountain views. But the dream kind of hit a wall really hard. The endless calls, the getting screamed at by movers demanding a lot of money, the feeling of being completely powerless and just floating around in a new city with nothing. The echo of an empty apartment, eating takeout on the floor, just using a moving box as a table, sleeping on an air mattress that ended up sighing and giving up by morning. But you learn a lot about yourself when all of your stuff and all of your possessions are gone. You learn how little that you actually need, and you learn that certain things just aren't important or essential. And for me, that learning was that all I need is a suitcase, clothes, my bike, leaning against the wall.
Temporary setup.
Yeah, it was really strange. It was kind of this suspended reality. You know, I was physically in Colorado, but my life and my sense of home was in a random stranger's hands. And they were somewhere that I couldn't see. So that freedom that I was chasing, it felt right there, but also a million miles away. It took a few weeks to find the energy finally for a real ride and to shake off that bit of a funk. But I knew that riding my bike was kind of the only thing that could fix this funky feeling. And it's the only way that I wanted to truly arrive in Colorado. Climb! As I mentioned, I don't have much of a plan, so I'm just kind of exploring.
Might go dip my feet into the river. I don't know at this point.
You know, the first few pedal strokes on the bike felt heavy and awkward, and my legs were trying to remember the altitude. Well, my mind was still, I guess, cluttered with the stress of everything that had just happened. The city streets felt long, they felt flat, loud, and obviously like a little bit anonymous. But then I saw them, right? Faint and blue, and in the distance, under a little bit of haze, I just started riding towards them. A pull. It's a pull that, you know, I can't really explain, but they got closer and closer, and the shapes were becoming sharper, and they were becoming more prominent, the peaks more defined. Little by little, we were getting closer with every single pedal stroke, from my house all the way into Golden. And I could suddenly feel this shift. The city noise was fading behind me. The dry, clean, crisp air felt like a baptism or something. I could feel the Colorado sun. It was nice and hot on my skin. Not that heavy, wet heat like the South, but light, warm. And honestly, the frustration, the anger, the feeling of being wronged, it all started to kind of just burn away with every single mile. Every little climb was just a little bit of a release, and every descent, of course, was a moment of just clarity. It made me kind of emotional riding towards the mountains. I had to just stop and take it all in the first few rides. But the mountains, they do something to me. They're like old friends or something that you don't need to explain yourself to. They've seen it all. It's a bit indescribable, but it's just who I am. And finally, I was home. We're home! So I took a full month off of posting here on YouTube. I needed to do more than just unpack boxes, but I wanted to get cozy in this new life of mine out west. I wanted to reset, and I wanted to create something from all of this that felt completely honest and authentic. And I realized over the month off that something important is I'm not always making these videos just for an audience or just for views or an algorithm by any means. I'm making them for me, and hopefully my future children, or maybe even my future grandchildren, who may one day want to know who their dad was, maybe what I cared about, or maybe what I was fighting for. So this channel is my creative outlet. It's kind of like my life journal, and a place that I'm completely free to create, to be messy, to document the process, not just the result. And it's a promise to myself to just pay attention, to look back, to remember all of those moments in life, the time, the places, and most importantly, the people. I think that life is, it's the most beautiful, fleeting, chaotic thing that even someone like me can dream up. And in a world that moves so quick or so fast, tells you to forget, it tells you to scroll past, and I think that the simple act of documenting or holding a moment still, it feels like, kind of feels like a rebellion. And to have a place to share all of it, well, I think that's really rad. So if you're here, thank you so much. Thanks for being patient, and if you want to see what happens next in the mountains, in my life, and on this channel, you already know what to do. But for now, it's time to get back on the bike and deep into the mountains. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.